Hi everyone, this is Kat from Alley Cat's Quilt Shop, and today I'm going to show you how to trim up your blocks that are going to be in the outer border of your Getting to Know Hue quilt. Today I'm going to be trimming up block 2, but this information is going to work on any one of the blocks in this outside border. So today I'm using a Creative Grids 16.5-inch square ruler. You don't have to use this particular brand of ruler, but what you do need is a square ruler larger than 15.25 inches square. And since these rulers come in half or whole inch increments, you're going to have at least a 15.5, 16, or in this case a 16.5. So the first thing I've done, and I've got this white background, hopefully this will help show up. The first thing I've done is I've taken a bright pink Sharpie pen, and don't panic because these marks come off easily. I can just take and wet my finger and rub, and the marks will come right off. So you're going to find in the upper right hand corner the numbers start from 1 and move out. So you're going to come down the right side of your ruler until you hit 15.25 inches, and I've highlighted all of the hash marks all the way across my ruler, ending just beyond 15 down here. And then I've come across the top of the ruler to 15.25, and I've highlighted all the hash marks down, and they meet down here in the left hand corner at 15.25 and 15.25. I've also found my dead center for 15.25, and that is going to be 7 5/8. So I am highlighting all of the hash marks down all the way to the bottom line at 7 5/8, and then I'm coming over from the right side of my ruler 7 5/8 to the left side of my ruler, and then you'll notice I have a little dot here in the center that is my dead center. And then you'll also notice that I have these little arrows pointing north, south, east, west. And these are just registration points for this particular block. I have a center square on point that's going to nest beautifully in these arrows. So let's go ahead and start with our block. So I'm going to lay this out, make sure that you can see it. All right. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my ruler on my block, and what I'm looking at is I'm looking at the north, south, east, west, and I'm going to try and line up these hash lines that I've created so that they touch my 4 points of my square on point in the center of my block, so that I know I don't have my ruler skewed one way or the other. So I've got those lined up. Now I'm going to look at the natural diagonal line that's printed on the ruler, because I want to make sure that I've got everything kind of lined up on the diagonal as well. And I'm off just a little here, so I'm going to rotate it. The goal is to try and get it perfect, but we all know that when we piece, things aren't always 100% perfect, and that's okay, because I like to, I look at my seam allowances as fudge factor. So if we have to, we can hide it in the seams. Now, before I start trimming my block, I also want to look along the right side, the top, my left hash marks, and the bottom hash marks to make sure that I have fabric under all of my edges. And I like my hash marks sitting on the fabric instead of hanging off the fabric, and everything looks good here. So the first 2 cuts I'm going to make are going to be along the right side and the top of my block. Now, I'm not trimming off much on this block. You're probably going to have more than this, but I got a new machine, and so my 1/4 inch foot is a little different than block 1, and so I have a little less. My seam allowances are a little bigger on this block, so my block is finishing a little smaller, so I don't have as much trimming to do. But that's the beauty of this block with our borders, because it doesn't matter if we've all ended up with a little different center. Our borders are going to make our blocks all consistent. So once I have the right and the top side of my block trimmed, I'm going to take my upper right hand corner and I'm going to rotate it so it's down in my left corner. So here we go. Rotate all the way around. So now this edge and this edge have been trimmed. I'm going to check and make sure that's in the screen. Okay. So now when I place my ruler, I'm going to place my ruler exactly like I placed it the first cut. My 1-1 is in the upper right hand corner. But now when I put my ruler down, all I'm going to do is line up this edge with my hash marks and this bottom edge with my bottom hash marks. So I'm going to place that pink line all the way across the bottom and all the way up the left side. And again, I like my hash marks sitting on my fabric rather than hanging off. And there. I'm going to look at everything else, make sure my lines here are lined up and everything looks good. And again, I'm not taking off much, but now my block is squared up 15 1/4 by 15 1/4. I hope that this tutorial was helpful, and so that you can get all of your blocks on the outside edge consistently at 15 1/4 inch square, and then they'll all go together great. So happy quilting, and I'll see you back here next time for block 3.